NCPDP engages when it comes to policy work, from education, employment, accessibility, law, policy, awareness, and youth in particular. And we also run the National Discipline Network in India, the largest network of organizers of people with disability in India from all states in the country, with all disability, we have a cross-disability approach. And over the last 10 years in particular, we've thought we have a very strong disability movement in the country. We have the highest number of disabled people in the world, in a country. We have one of the strongest legislation for disability in the world. Yet, we felt that people with disability continue to remain an afterthought, continue to be remain as looked at as an issue of charity and welfare. They continue to just be a recipient of a pension at the end of the month or the end of the year. And to this, we thought we must reach to the people who have the ability and the power to bring this change. And that's where we thought
stay back and the rest can occupy. Wherever.
Dignitaries and the dais, honorable MPs, सभी इसमें जो शामिल हुआ सबको मैं वेलकम टू ऑल। मेरा एक अपॉइंटमेंट है इसलिए मैं जा रहा हूँ। 30 साल से जो काम चल रहा है यहाँ पे, आपने जो डिसेबिलिटीज़ के बारे में जो काम कर रहे हैं, हम भी इस काम से जुड़ा हुआ है। 2016 में जो एक्ट आया था, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने जो लाया था, 17 चैप्टर्स, 100 के अबव जो समस्या उसमें प्रस्ताव किया है, वो अमल करने के लिए निरंतर रूप से आप लोग जो काम कर रहे हैं, हम जितने हो सकता है, जितने जो ताकत है, हम भी आपके साथ रहेंगे। आपका डिमांड के बारे में काम करेंगे। आज NCPDP आप लोग जो डिसेबिलिटीज़ के बारे में जो काम कर रहा है, हम आपके साथ जरूर रहेंगे। आने वाला दिन में आपका जो मांग है, जो डिमांड है, आपके लिए जो लड़ रहा है पार्लियामेंट के अंदर, हमारा ऑनरेबल MPs, मैं भी प्रस्ताव करने के लिए मैं जरूर प्रयत्न करूँगा। नमस्कार।
Second thing I will tell you, that alone will not serve the purpose. What is the real problem in this? There are very effective legislation. Perhaps the legislation with respect to this category may be one of the best legislation India has ever seen. That is the implementation side is very good. Even reservation in employment. That was another revolutionary step taken in this regard. There are problems. We are raising them in the parliament on various occasions. So implementation process will have to be strengthened. So in order to do all this kind of things, this kind of two approach is very much important. I don't want to take much of your time. Parliament is session we are about to go now. So I once again express my heartfelt thanks to you for taking lead for this kind of noble cause. With these few words, I conclude and express my best wishes to you once again. Thank you very much.
Days, we will certainly take your request and your concerns to the Parliament. Thank you very much.
Wonderfully spoken, Jerry, and that's exactly what one was thinking that.
Sir.
with this handbook, parliamentarians will, in a concise way, easily be able to understand the challenges and the particular issues faced by persons with disabilities and take the debate ahead. So thank you very much. Both ma'am sitting here, Dr. Fawzia Khan and Sri Tala, who just left maybe because Parliament is in session, Muhammad Bashir Sahab and Dr. Advocate Jenny Mathur. I thank you, all of you, for being part of this wonderful launch. And we now dive straight into the first panel discussion, which is on political participation on persons with disabilities.
Just one line.
Something else to add? Yeah, sure, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to convey wishes of Gaurav Gogoiji, who was this time, who was actually wanting to be here, but because of an unexpected emergency, he couldn't be here. So he has conveyed his wishes and assurance that he will definitely be taking your issues to Parliament.
Dalit community members to be part of the legislature. And that's also a community which is not really so much concentrated. It's also again a community which is quite geographically scattered. And so that's why I think it's important to ensure that there are constitutional mechanisms.
The cost. कई examples हैं Guru, look at schemes in India. I'll start with PVTG, particularly vulnerable tribal group, 25,000 crore. Look at PM Kisan, 17,000 crore. And I have many other examples. Look at the budget of DPWD, Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. And what does it do? And it's also a state subject. What is the budget of the state government? We don't get into it. So I think if we invest 50,000 crore just to remove barriers in this country for people with disabilities, you're trying to create accessible infrastructure, transport system, digital infrastructure, or your products, services, your access to justice, and so on. Why are we not looking at disability? And I think, like Guru mentioned about this number of questions in a parliament. If you have close to about 1,500 questions from the parliament on disability to be asked, I think it's screaming that there needs to be a representation of people with disability. Some people need to actually represent disability as an issue, as disabled people's representative. But we are not there yet. And why are we not looking at investment? Like cost of exclusion, the study says that it's like 4 to 5% of the GDP for the out-of-pocket expenditure for people with disability. Despite the fact you pay tax and you pay indirect tax and so on. But this is not a discourse in the parliament. This is not a discourse in any political party or any politician for that. Straight away you think disability, okay, it's good to do, we must be kind and compassionate and don't kind of घर में ही भेज दो, जो चाहिए घर में भेज दो, खाना भेज दो, व्हीलचेयर भेज दो, चाहिए नीचे आप भेज दो. तो and that is where we decided that we have to have there is no parliamentary forum on disability. Okay, we have been engaging with the Speaker's office also that there should be a parliamentary forum of disability for the parliamentarians formed by the Speaker. Going to meet the Parliamentary Affairs Minister as well to see how this handbook can go beyond just a handbook and so on. And I think this sensitization of parliamentarians and other policy and lawmakers is so critical that disabled people stop looking at themselves as beneficiaries all the time. And this, I am a firm believer, cannot happen without the political will. And disability is a political issue. It's a complete lack of political will to bring change in the life of disabled people. And I think with the country which is so young, and disabled people are able to articulate, gone are the days when you have to organize a dharna of 10,000 people. One social media post can bring down somebody. It's that era we are living in. And anything is possible. They have all these your thoughts like this. And then very hard answer. answers, please.
Okay, so when Anish said that I worked in this sector pre-2016, so when we didn't have the RBWE Act, so the whole sector was focused on bringing that act. So I think there was a lot of momentum, and the whole idea was that we need this act, and everyone was working together for that. I think I agree with Anish that we have that act now, but where are we at in the implementation of it? I mean, in theory, we have the Sudamya Bharat Abhiyan, which mandates that 40% of government buildings in any city need to be accessible. In my own hometown, Dehradun, I still remember not too far back, the Disability Commissioner's office was on the first floor of the Secretariat, and there is no elevator. So, where are any checks and balances happening? One, I don't think so. So, theoretically, we have a reservation of 5% and 4% in higher education and government jobs. I think beyond that, we need to, one is the big number that we have over 5 crore people with disabilities. The next census is going to confirm that. It could even be larger. But also the micro numbers. Because legislation is happening at each level, right? So I think what we need to concentrate on that if I am the MP of a particular constituency, I need to understand the scale and magnitude of the issue. I need to understand that these are my constituents and they're largely invisible. See the segregation happening right at the education level, right? We don't have inclusive schools. So children are going to different schools. We're not seeing them. The people who are parliamentarians, BIR representatives, MLAs today haven't really grown up seeing their peers struggle with these basic issues. So we might say we have this act, but we still do not have legislators who are acutely aware of the issues that people with disabilities face. So I think we need an outreach to policymakers. I don't think that has happened enough, Arman, because even within the parliament, Guru mentioned the number of questions mentioned. Today you have a whole league of legislators who are young, who are more open to ideas.
I will talk to you offline on this. I'll talk to you offline on this. I don't really don't push me to speak. Okay. So Guru, on to you again. So I'm just talking about investment. Do you think it looks like a bad investment? कि सारा पैसा डूब जाएगा? Where are we not able to argue? I mean, government of India is one of the largest procurer in the world. We are consuming, we kind of consume anything like self. क्या बोलते हैं मेरे इकोनॉमी तो पढ़ा नहीं मैंने मतलब खुद ही अपने आप को कंज्यूम इतना हम लोग जनरेट कर रहे हैं कि we are not affected by a war or anything around the world. We just very resilient that way. Then do you think 50,000 crore is a bad investment in disability?
नहीं देखो, as someone working in the political space, I have been thinking internally when this session was happening that I see this as an opportunity. Any political person with a vision any political person with a vision worth the sword will champion this cause of disability, and there is a vacancy that he or she can become a national leader. I'm just surprised that why people before us, people in the past haven't taken it up. मैं सोच रहा मतलब मेरे मन में जब ये चर्चा चल रही थी तो मेरे मन में आकस्मिक ये विचार आया कि अगर आज की तारीख में कोई भी राजनेता इस विषय को पूरी संवेदनशीलता के साथ उठाता है तो दुनिया की कोई ताकत उसको राष्ट्रीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय नेता बनने से रोक नहीं सकती है। This sheer lack of political imagination, ये राजनीतिक कल्पना शक्ति की ये जो कमी है आपस में ही अब I have political response as well, but I do not consider myself sitting there as a political person, but as a scholar, as an activist working in the space of inclusion. Primarily caste inclusion, gender inclusion, but after today, disability inclusion as well. So तो इस कार्यक्रम से अगर एक चीज जो मेरे व्यक्तिगत जीवन में जिसका परिवर्तन होगा कि मैं आज तक जाति और लिंग पे काम करता था, आज के बाद में डिफरेंटली एबल क्षेत्र में भी उसी संवेदनशीलता से काम करूंगा। ये मुझे लगता है और ऐसे छोटे छोटे परिवर्तन, ठीक है, सरकार ने 2014-2015 के पहले जो 700 करोड़ का बजट था वो 1500 करोड़ कर दिया है। सुगम्य भारत अभियान में infrastructures have become barrier free. Even Startup India, I was very interested, passionate to see that more than 4 lakh entrepreneurs in this category are contributing to the Indian economy worth more than 1.34 lakh crore. मतलब कुछ लाख हमारे डिफरेंटली एबल्ड बंधु और बहन को मिलकर के 1.5 लाख करोड़ का भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था में योगदान कर रहे हैं. So there is a limitless opportunity. राजनीतिक आरोप प्रत्यारोप आपने क्या किया नहीं किया ये चलता रहेगा, लेकिन इसके बियॉन्ड जाकर के हम अपने पूर्वाग्रहों से ऊपर उठे. We revisit and rethink our own biases and commit ourselves fully in this space. I see that promise, I see that potential today in this Sabhagaya. But another Chandra Mohan.
I just want to add, जो गुरु ने कहा कि this is an opportunity. You know, it reminded me of, I work very closely with Tejasvi Surya, who's my national president, and he's a parliamentarian. I remember about a year and a half back, he tweeted something that really got my attention, and my respect for him as a leader went up. In his constituency of South Bangalore, he conducts a regular accessibility audit, and he's, I think he's a part of his MP LAD funds, he's spending on making buildings in his own constituency accessible. Now that's a parliamentarian who is your ally. You know, I'm not sure how much the disability rights organization is associated with him, but I would think that we need to find more of such people, and I feel we can nurture more of such people. He can be roped in for a champion, as a champion for that cause. Whether or not he wants to be that is another question altogether. But I think I would want to help you reach out to him if you've not done that already, and create such forums where we can talk to these parliamentarians, create allies across sectors, and a lot of women parliamentarians, I personally know, would be so happy to be allies.
We are recording this thing. We are open to ask questions.
So I want to just add one final point, and I think it's very important for projects that are as ambitious as the one that you mentioned to have cross-party solidarity. I think the burden of this is also on the opposition. In some ways, I think younger people in both the ruling party and the opposition have the responsibility now to break free of the chaos that we're seeing in Parliament. Okay? What's the point of asking a question in Parliament if it's not going to be answered because the House is being disturbed? Recently, Devi Kagaji wrote a very powerful open letter saying that this level of disruption is not valuable for democracy. And targeted only the Congress party, the ruling party should also have some part to play. But I think we're in an impasse in terms of having too many issues where we fight politically on. Disability rights can be an issue where we can get bipartisan support and we can work across the political line to make something like this happen. And I think that to me is an opportunity.
Right. Sure, thank you. So I count on all of you for taking this forward. And I would now open the floor for a few questions. And this particular subject is very close to my heart. And I tend to give a little more attention. I don't follow questions that share, that is answer, speak or comment. So, I just open this floor for questions. May I request my colleagues to...
The first question was raised by someone over there on Dr. Purva Mittal. बहुत अच्छा प्रश्न किया आपने कि लोकतंत्र में हिस्सेदारी कैसे? नहीं, मैं और ये मेरा जिसमें फर्म बिलीव, डोंट टेक इट अदरवाइज, आप इसको अदरवाइज ना लें. लोकतंत्र में हिस्सा मांगने से नहीं मिलता है, लोकतंत्र में हिस्सा आपको लेना पड़ता है. और आज आपकी ताकत है, आप मार्केट के बगल में इस 5-स्टार होटल में आप लोग एक कार्यक्रम कर रहे हो, आज आप में ताकत है कि आप ये हिस्सा मांग सकते हैं. भाई हमारे देश की संस्कृति में, मैं बिहार से आता हूँ और बिहार में, उत्तर बिहार में एक स्कॉलर हुए अष्टावक्र. अष्टावक्र आप में से कितने लोग जानते हैं? हाथ खड़ा करिए. अष्टावक्र ने हमारी सभ्यता, he was a guiding light to our civilization, and like I said, It's my firm belief that today we have that political capital to influence the opinion of the government. मेरे मन में कोई संदेह नहीं है. तो ये कहना चाहिए. आपको हमें how can we build coalition with gender and caste movement? बहुत सारे ऐसे एडवोकेसी ग्रुप्स हैं, पब्लिक स्पिरिटेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैं जो जाति और लिंग क्षेत्र में जो भेदभाव है उस पर काम कर रहे हैं. और देखा हो April 2018 when Supreme Court did some tweaking to Prevention of Atrocities Act, we saw the movement. And today in the digital age, I think we have that power, we have that potential to influence the opinion. तो ये आत्मविश्वास है, और ये आत्मविश्वास या शक्ति हमारी सृजनात्मक को विध्वंसक नहीं है. अब नोबेल प्राइज भी क्रिएटिव डिस्ट्रक्शन वालों को मिला है, मुझे बताया गया. सो आई थिंक वी हैव द पावर, वी हैव द पोटेंशियल टू इन्फ्लुएंस कैसे करना. दूसरा, सर here asked a very important question on how we encourage or cultivate disability leadership within the party system. तो मैं as a scholar, I was just going through a resolution. The precursor of BJP was Bharatiya Jansan, and it was formed in 1952. So in 1952 resolution, there was an intervention which said that at the mandal level, which is the most decentralized body of our organization, we must have two representatives, one woman and one either SC or ST. Today, within our party system, there is a cell, but how the issues or the discussion that is happening in the cell must become more mainstream. ये प्रयास करने की आवश्यकता है. और मैं आश्वस्त हूँ, मेरा ये मानना है that UN SDGs में भी अपना विषय है, but विकसित भारत 2047, in the realization of Viksit Bharat 2047, it is one of the most non-negotiable and important pillar to have the issues of differently abled section as well. विकसित भारत तभी पूरा होगा जब हमारे differently abled बंधुओं की भी अधिकारों की पूर्ति होगी, इसमें कोई दो नहीं. So today, आज ये माहौल है, आज ये वातावरण है, आज अरमान जी जैसे लोगों का नेतृत्व है, NCPDP जैसे संगठन हमारे साथ. तो इसके संरक्षण में हम तीसरी शक्ति कैसे बने और सृजनात्मक कैसे बने, मुझे लगता है आज पर्याप्त अवसर उपलब्ध है. और ऐसे प्रयासों से क्रॉस पार्टी, अनीश ने भी कहा कि अलग अलग राजनीतिक दलों के युवा प्रतिनिधि आए और कंस्ट्रक्टिव डायलॉग करें. एक दिन में हो जाएगा ऐसा नहीं. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर से संविधान लागू हुआ था 75 वर्षों पहले, एंड आई थिंक दिस स्लोगन स्टिल गाइड्स मी एंड गाइड्स ऑल द एक्टिविस्ट्स एट द कोर. ही सेड ऑन 26 जनवरी 1950, देश में संविधान लागू हो रहा था, उसके पूर्व संध्या उन्होंने कहा था on 26th of January 1950, India is going to enter into a life of contradictions. We will have equality in politics with the principle of one person, one vote, but we will have gross inequality in our social and economic life. तो उसी इक्वालिटी को तो पूरा करने का मकसद है. और वास्तव में बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर और तमाम हमारे संविधान निर्माताओं का संकल्प तभी पूरा होगा जब ये असमानता को कम कर पाएंगे. धन्यवाद.
There is a unique opportunity today to be counted in ways that were not possible before. पहले राजनीति में ऐसा हुआ करता था कि you have to organize a मोर्चा, get 5-10,000 people onto the streets. Your viability as a candidate was decided on the fact of whether or not you be able to go door-to-door campaigning. And if your buildings are not accessible, then how is somebody in a wheelchair going to go door-to-door campaigning? And so why will a party give a ticket was the logic given initially. Today you have a very different scenario. You have digital means available. You have rallies that are taking place online. There are ways of being counted that can be made into ways that apply political pressure. But I think we have to start thinking differently. The NGOization that happens of any social justice movement can often preclude political possibilities. We know how to think like NGOs. We know how to fundraise like NGOs. We know how to create policy documents. We don't know how to think politically. And I think I would encourage you to start political education. What does it mean to have a municipal council election? How many votes are required? How can we get family members to become a sort of part of this coalition? I really like that point. I know a lot of people resonate on the panel as well. Why do we count families of disabled persons as part of the disabled people voting for? Very important. I think this is a measure that can then be taken taken towards a politician and presented directly. Here's 20,000 voters in your constituency, ignore us and it won't better. I like the idea of competitive demands as well, pointing out what one party has done and one hasn't. But to do that, you have to show strength in numbers. And that strength in numbers has to be demonstrated in a way that political parties understand. You told me this right now. Very nice. But the candidate standing for an election, जिसकी फट रही है एक हफ्ते पहले कि मेरी मार्जिन 5,000 वोट से डिसाइड होने वाली है, उसके पास आप जब जाओगे, then you extract your pound of flesh in the right way. And then after that person gets elected, your chances of holding them accountable are much higher, in a very practical sense. Right? Finally, I think there was one question about the ministry and how we can count different kinds of disabilities and how we can have officers. I think it's an incredibly important question. Right? Invisible disabilities are ones that are completely ignored. We definitely have scope for improvement. Autism is a subject very close to my heart. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to make much progress on that front. Of course, there's a societal reason for it, but there's also an infrastructural reason for it. How we can embark upon that remains a very critical question. I want to end on one point. You made a very interesting point about constitutional provisions for rights of persons with disabilities. We've come at a point today, and I think we should have an honest conversation about it, as to whether the RPWD Act framework, whether the Transgender Rights Act framework, whether the Mental Health Act framework are good frameworks to continue. We've experimented with them, they've shown what they're capable of. I think we should have an honest review of what they're not capable of. When you come to the caste movement in India, castes are a scheduled caste in the constitution. Recognition is provided by the constitution. Right? Protection is provided by the Prevention of Atrocities Act. And rights of benefits granted are provided by individual ministries, which sets up an elaborate legal infrastructure for caste rights and caste protections to be recognized. When you collapse it to a single act, which provides recognition, which provides protection, and which provides benefits, those three moving parts come under the Social Justice Ministry, and after a point it will also be kind to that Social Justice Ministry, because how much are they really going to do? Can we find a legal infrastructure now to ensure that rights of persons with disabilities, on mental health care, on gender and sexual minorities, all of these rights, can we find a constitutional framework for them to be enacted and implemented in a way that is robust? And I think that is a conversation that we have to start opening up now. I'm not an expert on that conversation, but I look forward to hearing, learning, and then taking